Hey there, beautiful soul. Welcome. I'm Warren. So grateful to be able to share with you, and I send you unconditional love. I want to explore the art of surrender, the knack of letting go. See, surrender is you surrendering the need to control every aspect of your existence and handing it over to a higher power and letting thy will, existence's will, God's will, consciousness, whatever terminology you want to use to be done in your life. And releasing the attachment of trying to insert your own will in your experience. Releasing the need to resist life's unfolding and just allowing things to unfold the way it needs to. When you have power, money, or you've built security around you, if you were asked to give that up, you wouldn't. When you're having a nap and you're having a wonderful dream and somebody comes and wakes you up from that nap, there's some irritation. Why? Why did you wake me up from that nap? You don't want to be woken up from it. But when you're having a nightmare and you'll wake yourself up, if you're conscious enough, you'll be like, hey, wake up, man. Same as in life. Surrender isn't just about an external, about your external environment. It's about your inner environment as well. See, surrender was brought to my doorstep. I didn't come willingly. I didn't surrender stuff willingly. The more I expanded my consciousness, the more I realized that surrender was a huge benefit to me. That there was very little I could do to change my external situation in a lot of areas of my life. Couldn't control people or what they did and the impact that had on my life or on my child's life. And it starts out with resistance, right? Yeah, these things are painful. There's the unknown. There's what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? How do I deal with that? So there's resistance. So you try and influence. You try and manipulate the situation to your benefit. Not to harm anybody, but just so you're not harmed, or the perception of you being harmed. But you realize that you can't influence. You've exhausted all options to change the situation. So you deal with it and you let go of your feelings of resentment. You surrender it. You surrender the outcomes of that in your life. You surrender the need to control. You surrender your anger. You surrender your ill will. Because you realize it doesn't serve you. That you have a choice. That you can choose love, compassion, kindness, understanding. See, somebody looks at it and goes, yeah, well, you surrendered. Yeah, your life, you obviously don't have a narcissistic, sociopathic ex-wife that you have to co-parent with, that constantly runs smear campaigns against you, that presents themselves in a very sweet and loving false way to the world, but behind closed doors is very abusive towards you and your son or your daughter. You don't have to deal with that on a constant basis. Where you don't have to deal with homelessness, where I've just been given notice on my property and I have to find somewhere else to stay. Or you don't have to deal with an illness. Or you don't have to deal with very difficult things in your life. So yeah, of course you're going to surrender and have faith and trust. You don't feel constantly beat up. I get it. I get it. I get it. Life can be difficult. And life won't always unfold the way you want it to unfold. And yes, there will be very traumatic situations that will transpire in your life. Now, can you remain balanced in those situations? And yes, you will harbor ill feelings towards other people. And you will want justice, and you will want other people to be held accountable. But life isn't fair. See, you got to at that point go back and go inward and say, okay, is life happening for me, or is life happening to me? Is there higher power at play here? And does that higher power have control and authority over my experience? See, it's an interesting question to contemplate, because it boils down to trust. And the universe will test your trust. Because it's easy. You surrender and you go, yes, okay, so there, I trust in you. Because I have no other choice. I've done this not out of free will, but because I have no choice. So I surrender it. And then the universe will bring another experience just to see, have you really surrendered it? Have you really surrendered it? And then you go, no, I didn't quite surrender it. But here we go. I'm going to sit in meditation, and I'm going to cultivate awareness, and I'm going to bring all those feelings of pain and suffering and trauma and all of that up, and I'm just going to observe it as a witness and allow it to come up, and then, love it and be my own inner alchemist. See, you can't control what other people do, but you, most certainly, if you have enough awareness, can control the way you feel and the way you perceive the world. And the more awareness you cultivate, the more choice you have. And then you start to realize that you can absolutely choose high vibrational energies in any situation, that you can remain balanced no matter what is transpiring in your life, that you can remain in a place of love, acceptance, that in fact what you're doing at a fundamental level is you surrendering the lower aspect of yourself, the egoic aspect, all the transient and impermanent aspects of you. And what I mean about transient, I mean the impermanent aspects to the permanent self. You are surrendering the finite aspect of your identifications, those things that you've identified with so strongly your entire life. And that could be your labels, your judgments, your opinions, your traumas even, your resentments, your anger, all your emotional bodies that you identify with. You've been playing this, you've been wearing these costumes for so long. You've identified with them as if you are them. And when you go into meditation and you sit in a place of awareness, you realize that you're not your thoughts, you're not your anger or your resentment, that in fact you can let these go, that you can surrender them. And it's a lot easier than you think, just handing them over. We hold on to things because we feel like we have to, because we don't know any better. We haven't expanded our consciousness to realize that absolutely we have a choice. And that allow life to unfold the way it needs to, but it's not going to affect the way I feel. That I am going to be in a place of love, no matter what. Even if I go hungry, I'm going to be in a place of love. If I face homelessness, I'm going to be in a place of love and balance. If that's what God's will is for my life, in order for me to learn the lessons I need to learn, then I allow it to happen. If I have riches, I am balanced. So once you start to surrender, you start to realize that the process of surrender is easy. And what you're doing is you see, even to the point as a seeker has to even surrender that last element of desire to understand it oneself. That external seeking has to be surrendered. And are you willing to give up that, right? In order to understand that what you seek is always with you. Hence, Buddha calling it the pathless path. Because you surrendering all the lower aspects, letting go of all the lower aspects of yourself to reveal your true nature as awareness, as consciousness. and therefore unaffected by the ongoings and outgoings of life. I remember hearing a story where there was a homeless man, and this individual drove up and he wanted to give this homeless man money, and the homeless man refused. So the person got offended and tried to force it on him. And the homeless man said, "I don't need anything. I have everything that I need." And so the rich person was like, "Oh, well, you're homeless. If you have everything you need, then why are you homeless?" And he said, "I'm richer than what you are." And this individual couldn't understand it. What he was basically saying is that there's nothing in this world that can complete me, and there's nothing in this world that can incomplete me. I'm already whole as I am. He had reached enlightenment. This rich individual couldn't understand it. It was beyond his level of understanding. But the homeless person realized that he didn't need anything, so he gave it all up. He wasn't interested in anything external. The external world couldn't satisfy him. So he gave it up. He surrendered it all, knowing who he was, knowing his true nature, beyond form. So I encourage you to look into your life and understand, what are you willing to surrender in order to reach enlightenment? I send you unconditional love.